And we are back now here at the KFYR Plus News Desk, and we are less than 3 weeks away from celebrating our nation's birthday. But the cost for a key element for the fun is now up in the air. U.S. firework prices are soaring ahead of Independence Day due to steep tariffs on Chinese imports, and the price hikes now are affecting not only consumers but also towns and organizations planning fireworks shows. Joining me right now is Julie Heckman, Executive Director of the American Pyrotechnics Association. Julie, welcome to the news desk. So will it be business as usual the 4th of July, or should we expect some scaled-back fireworks displays, Julie?
You know, it's a bit of a mixed bag across the country right now, and that's because the tariffs hit at the absolute worst possible time. The peak transport of importing fireworks occurs right after the Chinese New Year, the end of February, through March, April, and May, going into early June. And the huge reciprocal tariff of 125% went into effect in April. And so many importers had to call the factories in China and put a pause on their orders. So, where we are today is some companies are very well stocked in inventory, others are going to be a little bit behind in their supply. Meaning, if you're a consumer, shop early for the best variety of products. And for the displays, I don't think spectators or the community will really notice a change because a display company could easily swap out one firework shell for another one. If there's an extra red instead of a blue, I don't think spectators are going to notice that. But we're
Mm-hmm.
very concerned about production for 2026 and America's 250th.
Yeah. So what specific challenges do dealers face due to these tariffs?
Well, they're all small family businesses, and it's been the uncertainty of the tariffs. They began at 20%. Then there's 125 reciprocal tariff. Then there's a 90-day pause. What happens at the end of 90 days? It makes it very difficult for a small business that does not have a lot of capital to be able to plan ahead.
Yeah, and many of the viewers and ordinary people probably don't understand. It takes quite a few months for your fireworks, I suppose, to get here, right? I mean, it's not like you're ordering it from Amazon and it's going to be here next Friday.
Well, first of all, everything is made by hand. It's a very laborious process, which takes, months to be able to make the volume of product that gets imported. But China is the global supplier of fireworks. So when they're not manufacturing for the US market, they're manufacturing for Europe. And when we put a pause on shipping fireworks in April because of the 125% reciprocal tariff, all the warehouses in China were full. They had to completely stop production. So we're very nervous about the couple of months that we lost in production time for making the product we need for 2026.
Yeah. How are different retailers responding to the increased costs, and are they absorbing any of the costs at all or passing them on to consumers?
The majority of the retailers are trying to absorb the cost. I think it will depend on when their product actually arrived. If you have a very small company that got hit with the 145% tariff, they probably can't they can't absorb all of it, and they're probably going to
Mhm.
have to pass a little bit on. But I think this industry wants all Americans to celebrate Independence Day, and they would like to make their product as affordable as possible.
What should consumers expect in terms of prices for the 4th of July?
I think prices will, for the most part, hold steady as compared to last year. For this particular season, the concern is going to be going into New Year's. Again, will the tariff go up? Is it going to stay? The American Pyrotechnics Association, along with the National Fireworks Association, we have been urging the president and U.S. trade rep for an exemption. Fireworks were exempted in 2019 from the tariffs, and we are hopeful that we will be able to get exempted again. It's just there hasn't been a path to do so yet.
Uh, well, as you know, President Trump is looking for American businesses to flourish. That's why the tariffs. What do these tariffs do for, I guess, the overall firework industry in the U.S.?
Well, the firework industry in the US, we rely solely on China as our supplier. 99% of the backyard consumer fireworks are manufactured in China, and 90% of the professional display fireworks. It would be near impossible in the immediate future to onshore manufacturing. We have very strict regulations in the United States. And again, it's a very dangerous job to make fireworks. You're dealing with explosives. So finding the skilled labor and being able to pay the wages, it's a real challenge.
Industry leaders have appealed to the Trump administration for exemptions, as you mentioned. Is there a possibility that could happen this year? Is it too late?
We are very optimistic. We believe the president is aware of our issue. We believe the U.S. trade rep is. There just hasn't been a formal path for exemption, and so that's what we're struggling to communicate.
So, has the price increase affected the safety and the quality of fireworks that are being sold at all?
Absolutely not. The firework industry is very committed to safety. Safety is our number one priority. And U.S. importers frequently travel to China to meet with the factories. We conduct safety seminars. Product is tested before it's exported to the U.S. And our transportation and safety record is impeccable.
Hmm. What long-term effects do you anticipate that these tariffs will have on the fireworks industry? As you mentioned, we've got 2026 next year. That's 250th birthday. Could it possibly affect that?
Absolutely. If the tariffs remain at 30%, it's unsustainable for the firework industry. And if they go up to triple digits, it will be crippling. I think you'll see a lot of closures in the industry, and that would be very sad for America's 250th because the firework industry needs to be at the forefront for those celebrations.
Yeah, absolutely. What role is the American Pyrotechnics Association playing in advocating for the fireworks industry?
Well, along with the National Fireworks Association, we have jointly been educating members of Congress, the USTR, the Department of the Interior, the Department of Commerce itself about the need for an exemption and why this industry is so unique and deserving of a carve out. So, a big part of our advocacy has been engaging members of the industry to also meet and write their members of Congress to keep this issue at the forefront. Because when July 5th comes, it's not just over. We are advocating for relief for 2026.
What message would you like to convey to consumers about the current state of the fireworks industry?
Well, it's highly fragile right now. We do believe that there will be plenty of supply for this 4th of July. It should be a good weekend because of when the 4th falls on a weekend, it's always great for sales. But there could be some shortages. So maybe a certain product isn't in stock. Again, I would plan to shop early.
Shop early. Julie Heckman, Executive Director of the American Pyrotechnics Association, thank you for your time and your valuable insights. We appreciate your efforts to keep the tradition of fireworks alive despite some of the challenges that we may fit. Thank you, Julie.